Hey guys, Frozen X is here. Today I'm going to be talking about the best setup that you can have for a single player solo run. And as you know, in my single player solo run, I died a lot. So before you say, oh my god, why would I listen to you then? I more or less learned from those mistakes, and more than halfway through the game, I found out how amazing the shield was and how good SMGs actually were, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. First off, we're going to start with your basic inventory. Now, you can use either an assault rifle or an SMG. I tend to lean towards assault rifles because you can shoot a longer distance, and they have generally the same amount of ammo in the mag as an SMG does, with the exception being these SMG 9s, which with extended mags can actually have really big magazines. But they have longer range. They tend to fire a little bit slower, but not by too much, and the damage is around the same. The only difference being that these are less accurate. But for me, the accuracy isn't really the problem. The range is, because I don't like being up close to enemies. But with that being said, there are a lot of situations where having an SMG really helps, especially against charger enemies like the shotguns or the shield guys. So I would recommend having an SMG in the early game, and then once you get around level 18 to 20, I would switch over to an assault rifle because once you're done with the cleaners, you won't have to fight any more shield guys. And the chargers, once you get into later game, can be killed with a one shot to the head with a sniper rifle. And that brings me to your secondary weapon, which is right here. I use the SRS A1, but any sniper rifle or marksman rifle really works. I personally like this, or the bolt action ones, because the damage per second on a bolt action versus a semi-automatic gun are going to be relatively the same. The difference being that this does more damage per shot. So I only have to hit someone in the head twice, say 3 times to kill them with this, rather than a semi-auto one would be 5 or 6 headshots. And if you've played this game for a bit, you probably know that hitting someone in the head multiple times, like after one after another, isn't the easiest thing to do. So the fewer headshots you need to kill, the better. Alright, so I'm going to talk about why I use a double-barreled shotgun in a moment, but first, I want to talk about skills. I'm not really going to talk too much about equipped gear. The best thing I can say is try and make sure that your gear helps support your DPS and health. Skill power is not that important. Right now, they probably need to do something about that, but focus on health and DPS, forget skill power. It's not worth it at all. Okay, so going into skills, let's start with the medical tab. You can either use the first aid or the support station. For a long time I used the first aid, but my problem with it was that when you shoot it in cover, you have to stand up to shoot it, and in that process of standing up to shoot it, I would die a lot, and it would piss me off more than I would really care to deal with. With the support station, you can drop it while staying in cover, but it's also a heal over time. So, even though you're playing solo, and this is generally more of a team skill, I really do prefer this because you can also recharge. You have this mod that recharges ammo, and the immunizer, which makes you immune to all standard effects. You also have life support, which is a revival station, which that's best used in when you have a group. But we're talking about a solo build here, so I personally go with ammo cache because while you're healing, you're also going to be regaining ammo, which there's never a bad time to regain ammo. Alright, and let's talk about our E skill. I had no idea how overpowered this ballistic shield was. I was using the Seeker Mine and the turret on and off. I couldn't really decide which one I liked more. I'm not a huge fan of the sticky bomb. I know some people are. It's not for me. But either of these is great. You could probably use these in the early game or even in the late game if you prefer these over the ballistic shield, and you'll be fine. But personally, I found this ballistic shield is fantastic for when you are stuck behind cover and an enemy is rushing you, like a shotgunner or say an elite or one of the bosses is coming right up to you. You just whip out your shield and then you can fall back, push up or whatever and take no damage. And I knew I could do that from the very beginning, but that's why I didn't use it because I didn't think if you can't heal yourself and you can't deal damage with it, what's the point of it? Well, it turns out you can heal yourself with it. The Kinetic Breaker mod allows you to, take a small portion of damage as healing. And when they say small portion, it really is a small portion. But if you have like an LMG guy or a shotgunner just blasting into the front of your shield, first of all, you're not going to take any damage unless you're shooting where they can hit your arm a little bit. But if you're just sitting there with the shield out, you will take all the damage and you'll also heal pretty much to full, which I think is definitely the best option. Okay, and then for the T, I used both the Survivor link and the Tactical link. I I use the Tactical link because, in a solo situation, boss fights take a long time, and having the buff to your damage and critical hit chance. Sorry about that, I had a hiccup. But having the buff to damage and critical hit chance is just vital. It takes boss fights and makes them like about half the time they were. It only lasts for 15 seconds, I believe. No, 12 seconds. Sorry, my bad. It lasts for 12 seconds, and it has an 830-second cooldown or 793-second cooldown. But the amount of damage you can do in 12 seconds with, like, say, 3 or 4 shots to the head with a sniper rifle, that'll be about half the boss's health. Sometimes you can even just get the entire kill within those 12 seconds, because with the current sniper that I've been using, the SRS-A1, whenever I trigger that, I hit almost 100,000 damage when I crit and a headshot. Alright, so now let's talk about talents. I personally don't really have any favorite talents. The use of medkit while on low health to increase damage resistance by 40% for 10 seconds, or the critical save one, I think that's a great talent to have. For a long time, I was using the wildfire because I was using the fire turret as well as the airburst grenade, and having the apply burn triggering 35% of the time to all targets within 10 meters was incredible. But now that I've switched over to a shield instead of a seeker or a turret, I use the headshot a hostile to pulse them for 10 seconds, which I use a sniper a lot, and I primarily go for headshots, so this does help me out quite a bit. It puts them on the screen. If they move, I know where they go. If I shoot them in the head, they duck behind cover, I know where their head still is, and I can wait for them to pop out again. I thought this was a completely useless skill until I accidentally equipped it once, and yeah, it was actually amazing. So I continue to use that because knowing where the enemy is just a real reliever, and I don't think Pulse as a skill is actually worth it, because unless you're in the dark zone, there's really no massive benefit you're going to get. I mean, sure, the critical hit chance and critical hit damage bonus is a great thing to have, but when you can heal yourself instead, or use a shield, or throw a seeker grenade, or put down a turret that will distract the enemies and light them on fire, this just quickly becomes less and less valuable to you. In the very beginning, sure, go ahead and use it, because it'll probably be the first thing you unlock. Alright, for the next thing, and when you damage multiple enemies with an explosion to apply 40% more damage from the blast, this is very critical. Most of my engagements, I start by throwing a grenade, because enemies tend to huddle together at the beginning of an engagement. So throwing a grenade, getting the extra 40% damage, a lot of times if they're not superior or elite enemies, you just kill them in one hit. It's fantastic. This also works for things like incendiary grenades and shock grenades. They don't really count as explosion damage, but they do 40% more damage, which is amazing. Now, I don't have the fourth thing unlocked, but I'm most likely going to go with, hold on, let me just find it real quick. The stopping power, where you suppress a hostile to increase headshot damage by 25% for 10 seconds. This will be one of those skills where it doesn't proc very often. You're not going to end up using this a lot in combat, but when it does happen, it will really help you. 25% extra headshot damage. Headshot damage for me is already at like 75 to 60,000, so that's probably going to be like 90,000 to 100,000 damage that I'll do if this does proc, and as you know, 100,000 damage from a headshot on an enemy is incredible. This would also be helpful, you know, reach low health to increase blind fire accuracy by 20%. My issue with this is when you blind fire behind cover, they still hit your hands. So the low health part is what concerns me. I feel like I would kill myself, not purposely, but accidentally kill myself while trying to get this to proc. And let's see if there's another one that I could possibly do. That one wouldn't be too bad. Enter cover to recoil, to reduce recoil by 25% for 10 seconds. The problem with that is I don't want to have to be jumping around cover to keep getting this, and honestly the recoil isn't unbearable, so I'm going to stick with it as the way it is. I mean, these apply burns and apply shock. All these things are really awesome if you are using a seeker mine or the turret, but if you're not, don't have them open. And let's see, did they have one where it was, I was trying to see if they had one where it increases your shield resistance, but no, it's during a cover to cover. No, I thought there was at least a mobile cover one, but I guess not. Yeah, there is no bonus that upgrades the shield, so I thought there was, but that's my bad. But yeah, so once I get my fourth thing, which I only need to unlock one more thing, the medical wing, I'm going to go with where is it? Stopping power. Couldn't find it. Yeah, and other than that, I mean, perks are obviously all equipped as you unlock them, so I'm not really gonna tell you which ones to choose and which ones not. You can read them while you're upgrading and decide which ones will work best with your game style or play style and get those first. And like I previously said, gear is going to change throughout the game. I'm not going to tell you to get my gear. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Oh, and that reminds me, I'm glad I opened up the inventory again. The reason I use a double-barreled shotgun is because you deal so much damage. And the fact of the matter is, I only use a shield to retreat when an enemy runs up on me. And if they're running up on me, they're gonna be within close enough range that using a shotgun makes sense in the first place. And also, I'm gonna be moving backwards, so it really helps out quite a bit to use a double barrel instead of a pistol. But if you're one of those people that just really likes using pistols, and I say go for it. But honestly, overall, the two shots, you can just fire them really quickly, and you get your hand back behind the shield, because as you know, if you stick your hand out like this, they will still hit you and you will take damage. But if you're using a shotgun, you just shoot real quick, and then you can, I'd only reload once there, sorry, you just shoot real quick, and then you can go behind cover, or go back behind cover, and you won't take any damage, opposed to a pistol where you have to stand with your arm out like this for the whole time you're firing. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. But anyway, that's it for this video. That's the solo guide for campaign missions. Keep in mind, this is not a Dark Zone setup. Don't think that, oh yeah, let's take a shield out into the Dark Zone and that's going to help me. That's really not going to help you too much, because players are smart enough to shoot for your feet and throw grenades and whatnot, and do not take a shield in the Dark Zone. That is a terrible idea. Other than that, there's not really much to say. I will make a Dark Zone gear guide once I've actually gone to Dark Zone a bit and I have enough experience in there that I feel confident to do it. But other than that, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. If you have any other theories or any other, guns or whatnot that you think would work better in a solo campaign build than this, leave a comment. I respond to every comment I get, and if I agree with you, I'll make an updated video or put an annotation over this one saying, yeah, listen, this is better, I made a mistake. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Peace out, guys.